Nvidia's 3080 Ti is right around the corner, and we have some potential pricing, and it's absolutely shocking. Like, even when I saw the pricing, I kind of expected it to be high, but you guys are going to be shocked at these third-party partner prices. So let's talk about what it is and the ramifications going forward. Hey guys, Thiago with Classical Technology. Some say every time you subscribe and smash that like button, it's not going to make any difference at all towards the pricing of these 3080 Ti's. So that's going to be the focus of this video. A while back, we were talking about the upcoming 3080 Ti and the 3070 Ti. I don't even want to know what that price is going to be, but the 3080 Ti third-party partner cards pricing. Some pricing has leaked, and it's really absolutely shocking, but I can't say I'm all that surprised. For example, the other day I took a little trip down to Micro Center, and they have the 6900 XT at around $25.99, and of course this is going to be one of the beefier power color versions, but keep in mind the reference model had an MSRP of $999, so you can bet that these third-party partners on the 3080 Ti are seeing this. A GPU that was supposed to probably cost around $1,000, the 3080 Ti, just like the 6900 XT, is going to cost, are you ready for this? Yes, upwards of $2,600, maybe even nearing $3,000 for some other models that we haven't seen. Who knows what something like an Asus Strix may cost, which is usually one of the more expensive models. So we can expect the MSRP of a 3080 Ti third-party card to be pretty much near $3,000. Now, let that sink in a little bit. Nvidia may come and say that the Founders Edition technically is $999, just like the AMD 6900 XT reference card is technically $999. But as we know, unless you're the very few people that may get lucky and get one of those in like a weird drop at Best Buy or maybe from Nvidia themselves if they sell it, the street price is going to be almost $3,000. This is such a drastic difference from where we were at the launch of these GPUs at the end of last year that it really is shocking. I don't really even know what to say. At first, a $1,500 3090 seemed like it wasn't really a very great value proposition. Am I right? We looked at the 3080 at $699 and we thought, all right, that's awesome. $699 for a 3080 with like performance almost twice a 2080 seems to be a very capable GPU, and for the first time the pricing seems very fair. Usually something like a 2080 Ti was around $1,200 for the top tier performance, so everybody was pleasantly surprised at the pricing of the 3080. But as we see, that did not last. I'm sure all of these third-party partner cards are looking at the secondhand market, and they're seeing that 3080s are readily selling for well over $2,000. So when we saw the 3090 at $1,500, people were like, I don't want that GPU. That's a terrible price to performance. So those same people, what if you look at the 3080 Ti now, a GPU that performs worse than a 3090 on the stack? It's the one that's in between that and the 3080. And I'm even a little bit speechless. What do you say to those same people that this GPU now costs $2,600 for a third-party model? Now, that's pretty shocking. That's like $1,200 more, $1,100 more than the 3090 was when we were complaining that's not a great value proposition. Now, the GPU is worse and it costs a considerable amount more. Look at how much sort of the space has changed. And something else we have to keep in mind, this 3080 Ti is coming with Nvidia's new LHR or light hash rate sort of implementations, meaning that the mining capabilities of these GPUs are going to be worse. So you're not only getting a GPU that's worse in terms of gaming for the most part than a 3090, you're getting considerably less VRAM at half the amount, 12 gigabytes to 24 gigabytes. You're also getting something that may potentially be useless for any type of mining. Even if you're a casual gamer and you wanted to throw your very expensive GPU on there just to mine a little bit to make some of it back, guess what? Now you can't do that, and sort of the resale value is also probably going to tank if it really ends up being that you can't mine on these GPUs, because miners are also a very big market. Down the road, they're not going to want to buy these GPUs, leaving you with a much more expensive product with a lot less capability. So as you see, it's been a complete 180 from where we were a few months ago. If you got a 3080 at $699 or even a 3090 at $1,400 to $1,500, you can consider that some of the best deals that we'll probably ever see for GPUs in the next few years. Not only did you get a high-performing GPU at a fair MSRP, but you also got something that not only can game, but if you throw it on there to mine a bit, it's going to be able to do that as well. Now, we're in a very terrible situation. Worse GPU, less mining performance, extremely higher price. So who's this going to affect the most? Directly at the gamer. The miner is not going to want to pay $2,600 for a GPU that pretty much has half the hash rate of, its predecessor like the 3080 or the 3090. So the only people buying this are going to be the gamers, and they're going to have to pay through the roof. I mean, this is pricing that it's even more than scalper pricing for the 3090 was. Only recently has the 3090 scalper secondhand prices reached near $3,000. In the beginning, they were really around $2,000 to maybe $2,300. So the 3080 Ti is obliterated any type of pricing for the 3090 that was a scalper pricing, which was already bad enough. And going with that, like I said, you can't even mine on it. So the only market left is the gamers. So the third-party partners are definitely getting greedy. They read the situation and they said, listen here, gamer, you want a GPU and you want us to keep it away from miners? All right, we're going to make something that's still going to be great for gaming. It's not going to be mineable, but you're going to have to pay us through the roof, pretty much even more than probably a scalper would charge if this was like a $999 GPU. So they're being 100% aggressive with the market. They're pretty much taking no prisoners with the pricing. This is absolutely clear from the third-party companies that, all right, you want your GPU, we're not going to lose any revenue to miners or to stores. You're going to pay up the nose for it, and we're going to limit a lot of the options. If you want it, fine. If you don't want it, it's okay, because the demand is so high from gamers and miners. The control is completely in the hand of not only Nvidia, but also the third-party partner cards. So what are we to do now? There really isn't anything to do. If you want a GPU, especially something like a 3080 Ti or a 3070 Ti, you're going to have to really pay through the roof, even MSRP. Now, there's a pretty good chance these may be actually in stock, because it's going to take people a little bit of courage to pay almost $3,000 in some cases for some of these 3080 Ti's, given that they can find a 3090 for similar prices still on the secondhand market. So that would be my suggestion for you. If these prices are true, and so far the GPU hasn't been released, it should be announced in a few days, end of May, early June. So I would take this with a grain of salt, but it looks like it's really heading that way, which is really quite troubling. And I do expect to see the Founders Edition MSRP considerably lower, just because it would look bad on Nvidia themselves if they actually put a very expensive GPU as the Founders Edition. So they may set it at like $999 or some arbitrary number, but that doesn't matter. What matters are the street prices for these third-party GPUs, and it's absolutely terrible. GPU prices have really reached a point where it's extremely aggressive towards the gamer. It's really not a nice situation at all, not to mention these limitations. So I know it's a little bit upsetting. I just saw these numbers today. I wish they had been lower. And yes, we may see more availability now. Just like at Micro Center, that $6,900 for $2,600 does not sell very quickly. I've been to Micro Center, a week after, and the same GPUs are still sitting there because nobody is really desperate enough to pay that much for a GPU. Even though it's in stock, the price is way too high. I think some of these third-party companies are going to learn a little bit of a lesson. You can't really price things anything that you want and expect everything's going to sell. I think that's going to be the limit, and I believe the 3080 Ti may be the start of really the pricing wars sort of reaching the peak and changing back down. Hopefully anyway, because if it gets any worse than this, then I think people are just going to stop building computers and go over to a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X, which honestly, at this point, even if you overpay a little bit for a PlayStation 5, that seems to be a much better deal than what you're going to be getting on the PC side. Utterly impossible to get any of these GPUs. Now it really comes to a saturation point. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's a little bit, I'm a little bit upset about these really high prices. Like, I'm surprised. It's very, very crazy. So I just saw them today. So I just wanted to get this video out to you guys so you see what's going on. Hopefully, when the real numbers come out, hopefully it's lower. But unfortunately, it looks like it may actually be something like this. Remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.